Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
All right. So if you clicked on this video, you might be thinking your success is blocking you from marriage. Let's talk about it. But before we do,
With Terrence and Jill, the God-Ordained Union, we are here simply to help encourage, help support, help uplift those that want kingdom marriage.
yes. So if you are new to this channel, we're Terrence and Jill. You said that, but we're Terrence and Jill, and our story is simple. We were waiting for a long time for marriage. I had never been married, never had any children, built success in what I thought was success, and found myself single at almost 50 years old. And so, but at 52, I walked down the aisle, met Terrence on an outdated dating site, or his profile was outdated, but it was a dating site. I was 48 years old. And so, so if you're feeling like, where's my person, or am I missing my person, or you might be feeling like, I'm not settling. No, don't settle. But we got to talk about some things. But if you're feeling like, I'm super successful, and, of course, he or she would want me, and what's wrong with me, and did I miss him or her? You are on the right channel, because those are the things that we were thinking. And so,
Yeah, so like she said, don't settle, but know that your person is out there. If you desire marriage and you have told God that you want marriage, and God wants for you what you want for yourself.
Yes, and
so he endorses marriage, he ordains marriage. So look, like she said, you're on the right path, because this video has come across your page now, which means God is already aligning people and things to you that's going to share everything he has for you.
Yep, destiny helpers. And so we're here to do our part. So yeah, on this channel, we encourage those who want to be married. We help expose the enemy, because there's some things that could be blocking you generationally, or any traumas, soul ties, whatever. And so yes, we go live
every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, and we drop pre-recorded videos like this one every Sunday. Every
Sunday and every Thursday.
Yes.
At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, and so we're live chatting right now. We're not live, but we're live chatting. So hey y'all, put your chat below. Hey y'all. Also, we encourage you to join us for midnight prayer, starting at 11:50 p.m. on Friday nights, every Friday nights.
That's Eastern Standard Time as well.
Yes, 11:50 Eastern Standard Time, 11:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time into midnight. So it's about 2 hours. We pray 2 hours or so. Sometimes it goes longer. And so, so all of the information about the prayer call, all of that is on our website.
Yes.
So
we finally got our website up.
Yes.
And we are excited.
We are super excited. So a lot of you have been requesting the prayers we pray. So you can go get that, the prayers we pray, because you got to be very strategic in your prayers. You can't just be praying, Lord, bring him or her. Nah, it's some things that's blocking your future spouse as well. You got to be very, very strategic in your praying. So you can go get that. That's absolutely free. That's on the website. What else is on there? All of our events. We have a meet and greet that we're planning for September. So the details will be on the website for that. Of course, the prayer call information, details are on the website for that. And we are launching our new private group.
Yes.
And that information is on the website as well. So starting July 1st, after YouTube Live, we are going into our private group. And so we can be candid right there in that group.
Yes.
We can talk about your dating experiences, your woes, anything you want to talk about, the topics, whatever. That's for, closed private group. So the information about the group is also on the website.
Yes.
All right. So
we're looking so forward to all of that.
Yes. So what are we talking about today?
Right now, we have a topic that we want to share with you. we always read all of our comments as quickly as we can. And believe it or not, there's a lot of y'all, so y'all know it takes a minute sometimes to get through everybody's comments.
And emails.
But there's an area that we want to talk about today. We had someone bring up the fact that they've been having success in every area of their life, except for relationships. So with that success, we want to talk about, is that success blocking them from actually meeting their person?
Yeah. So first thing is, when we talk about success, when we're referring to it as far as this video, we're referring to success as accomplishments, personal accomplishments, whether it's career, business, purchasing a home, anything that you've done individually within yourself that, you know, that is an accomplishment. And so it could be
it's an accomplishment that you don't want to release.
Yes, it's accomplishment.
You feel you're not sacrificing, you're not giving up.
Right. Yes. And so that was one of the areas, and we'll talk about that, but that was one of the things that was blocking me from moving forward in relationships. And so we'll talk about it. But for the sake of this video, we kind of want to put this in there's two types of people, successful people, we want to talk about for the sake of clarity. So I know there's many other areas, but this is one of the main two that we're seeing and that we know personally from ourselves. And so the first area we want to talk about is the successful person who is super busy.
Yeah.
And that is a reason why.
Because of your success, you've been on your grind for so long. You have been going from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. You've been pushing it to reach your success. And now that you got it, you just don't know how to let up.
Right.
You're continuously, something is saying you won't be successful if you let up. You got to keep your grind on, keep pushing. And what that has done, it has prevented you from making time for a special someone in your life.
Yeah. I have a really, really good girlfriend who, she's like a sister to me, and she's pushing 50. And when I say she's super successful in her career as well as business. We're talking about a 7-figure earner business. And she's also a mom, and she wants to be married. And I keep telling her, boo, girl, you don't have room. You don't have room, because when guys come up to her, or even if they probably considering her, they don't see where they fit. There's no, and then also what happens, and that's from the one point of view, but from her situation, her body language, her aura, her energy, or whatever you want to call that, there's a spirit, it is saying, I don't have room for you. Yeah. It is, and people don't realize that is a thing. And you know what is so, and that's by default. Because I think if somebody approached her, because I know her heart, I know the type of person she would make room. But they probably not even approach her, because they're looking from afar. Yeah, they don't feel it
from the other person.
Right.
If you get into the conversation to the point where you're talking about what you do, by the time they listen to her,
right,
list all the things that she does in a 24-hour time frame, they're thinking, wow,
she doesn't have
no way
time.
I could fit in there. She's on her grind so much that even if she wanted me to be with her, I don't see myself being able to fit in, because she doesn't have room for me. Right.
And what happens is and I think of this, like, a lot of times when you think about, you know, we make room for any and everything else. But when it comes to marriage and relationship, it's looked upon as you're settling. It really is looked upon as you are shrinking yourself. Yeah. And say, for instance, if she got pregnant today, whether married or not, if she got pregnant, or anybody who has this success where they're super busy, if that woman gets pregnant, that pregnancy will cause her to make room. It will come in and bulldoze everything and make her make room. But we don't take that same, and whether the pregnancy does it or not, the person will make room for you go in and prepare the room. You do this. We even make room for for our child. We will move to a different zip code so that our child can have the best education. We will accommodate children, but when it comes to the marriage and we won't do it. I will not change. I will not, and that body language comes across. And so that's one of the success,
Yeah, that's and here's the thing. That's becoming commonplace. Yeah. You're starting to hear people now, successful people, start to get on other platforms and get interviewed and say, I've been so successful that I'm now seeing that it's been a hindrance to me being able to find somebody because I don't have the room.
Right. I remember when I first got my condo, I was 37. It was my first real estate purchase. I was very, excited about my purchase. I had been, leasing apartments for years prior to that. And I made my first, not only was I, happy about that purchasing my condo, I purchased it in an area that was a very beautiful area, a successful area in Maryland. And so the guy that I was dating at that time, who I thought I was going to marry, I remember because my condo was a one-bedroom condo. And I remember when, I was purchasing it when we were in our talking stages. And we were starting to become, I thought, more serious. And I got my condo, and I don't remember telling him that we can get something bigger if I get married. But I purchased that condo, 37 years old. Few months after I purchased that condo, he left. We broke up and he went on to marry somebody else. And my conversation said it's not enough room for you. And I'm not leaving this place. And not that I did it intentionally, but I didn't have room for him. I didn't have room. It was a one-bedroom. I made it clear that I was and I made it clear in my happiness and my eagerness. And he's probably thinking, why would I want to rob her of that? Now, I don't have room in there for myself. It's just one bedroom. That's just enough space for her. And so you'd be surprised at what the steps we make, and we don't have room for that person.
And that was with somebody that you'd been in a relationship with. Think of how quickly a person you just met, y'all just happened to agree to go to lunch and y'all talking about what you do for a living. And he's already saying on that first dinner date or that first lunch that he doesn't see room for himself, or she's saying, I don't see room for myself because this person is so busy. And especially when you don't realize sometimes when you purchase something that means so much to you and they can hear that in your voice and how you're describing it. And then they say what she feels he said. I don't want to rob this person of something that meant so much to them. And it's only enough for them. It's not enough for the both of us.
Yep. So that was 2007. Well, no. 2005 to 2007. So 2005 is when I purchased my condo, but he and I broke up in 2007. So I was in my happy homeowner stage, and he's thinking, I don't see myself, fitting. But I remember after he and I broke up, I remember, because I was still, even after we broke up, I this is how bad it was. I was like, I did not want to give up my home anyway. But I remember one day I prayed a prayer. I said, Lord, when you're ready for me to give this place up, make me ready. Make me totally ready. So I was 35 to 37. That was between that period, 35 to 37. And when I turned 44, I relocated to Raleigh, and I leased out my condo. And at that point, I was ready. And I remember when I was ready to give it up. I was just ready. And I had felt like I had served my season there in Maryland in that condo, and I was ready. But all through that time, I was not ready. I didn't say I wasn't ready,
right,
but everything about me said I wasn't ready. But I remember praying, Lord, when you want me to be ready, you know. And I remember one time in church, and I know this is a stretch. I remember one time in church, we went to a hard deliverance church, spiritual warfare church. And I remember the pastor was like, you know, some of your homes are so decorated in who you are. You know, you don't have room for anybody. And I remember going home to my condo. When I tell y'all, I had pictures of single women all over my apartment, all over my condo. I mean, like paintings that you would buy. They were all over. I mean, beautiful single women, just all over. And I remember even my bed, it was just, you know, I had a queen size bed. Just, I had no room in my bedroom for a husband or anything. So I always say, even with those who have homes, who have their own homes, I don't care how big it is. I don't care if you lease it. I don't care if you own it. One of the best things that you can do is that when you meet somebody is to not to be willing to give up your home and y'all move into something new with the two of you, just like we did. Like we just moved. We wanted something new for the both of us. I'm not going to his home. He's not coming to my home. We just, yeah.
Yeah, you're moving into something brand new.
Brand new. Yeah. If you got to lease out your place and just be even willing to do it, because it might take some work now for you to start preparing in that way.
And all that does is to free the both of you up to say, we're coming in this equally yoked.
Yes.
We're coming in this with the idea that we both gave up our individualism to become who God has created us as husband and wife.
Yes, yes.
Man.
The other one. So number 2.
The second person is really a person that have been on their grind just like the first person, but they have reached a place and they feel like right now, look, I'm not giving this place up no matter what. Their pride has gotten them to the point to where, and I've heard, and I'm not saying this is only for men, but I've heard men on other platforms. I've watched interviews of them say, look, I've been successful. I'm a multimillionaire, twice or what have you. But they're saying, I got a home that I bought. And all I'm going to do is when I meet that woman, I'm moving her into my life. They're not saying it's going to be our life. They're saying, I got the home in a perfect location that I've always dreamed about. I got the perfect car. I got the perfect career. I got everything. When I meet the woman, she's going to have to be willing to move into the house that I bought for us. And she's going to have to be willing to be in my life in the way that I need her to be in my life. It's not about sharing. I'm going to be a great provider. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. But she won't have a say so in what she comes into. I've already done that. And I did it because I didn't want to not be prepared to take care of her in the way I feel she deserves to be taken care of. That's their logic behind it, is that now they can give her anything she wants, but it's going to have to be something that he has for her. It ain't something that she is going to be able to have a lot of say so on. So that person is prideful. They're successful, but their success has led to them being so prideful that they're not willing to compromise or give up. So you got a lot of successful people out there that are by themselves because they're not willing to compromise.
And ladies, that includes you too. I remember there was a comment. It's been a couple of months. There was a comment. It was a long comment. And this woman was so prideful. She said in the comment, she said, yes, because I have my own business. He has this. I think it was the video. I want to say it was the video we talked about our finances. She was like, yeah, because I have my own business. He's going to have his own business. He's going to have his own bank account. I'll have my own bank account, and we can get one bank account for the both of us. And then, and it's going to be this way and that way and that way. And I like to know, how's that working out? That was my block. My block, in addition to, the condo, that was small change. But we're talking about the block. Yes, I too bought into the Black successful woman. I bought into that. And when I say it was such a block, because what happens is that if a man came across your path and he did not make the same amount of money as you, or had the quote unquote the same drive as you, or the same accolades of you, he got to have the same business, or he has got to also have a business. If he does not quote unquote match you, what happens is that society says you are settling, or that you got to shrink yourself for that man. And it was such a catch-22. It was such a block. And so what happens is the only men we are attracted to or compatible to is the man that, what you just said, is super busy and who is super prideful. Mm-hmm. So he got his success, you got your success, and only thing you're really coming together for is sex, because he doing his thing, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really got to figure out, if you're somebody that considers yourself to be successful right now and you're still looking for love, you need to have a sit down with yourself to say, what is it that I'm willing to sacrifice, or am I willing to sacrifice at all in order for me to find love? And when we say sacrifice, we're not saying giving up, the things that you worked for so hard and the things that's making your lifestyle now.
It's how you place them.
But it's where the importance of where you place them and where you're not wanting to put them in importance, that's preventing you from meeting the person.
Yeah. Dying to self is huge when it comes to marriage. Dying to self, it is huge. And as God would do, because I couldn't have done it in my own might. But I remember in 2017, early 2018, something says start to scale back on my business. I started, for those of you who don't know, I had a very, and I'm going to say have a very successful nonprofit consulting business where I help visionaries start and develop nonprofits to like 6-figure nonprofits, and how to get grants and federal grants. And so that was my expertise. I've got a master's degree in nonprofit management and leadership. I worked all through the federal government, all through all levels of government, but I got the bulk of my experience in the federal government, where I was a program manager. And so I took all of that, all of my accomplishments, and I started a nonprofit business. Then it was called the Savvy Servant. So I started this nonprofit business when Terrence, I started the nonprofit business back in 2012, 2010, 2011, but it started to really grow like in 2015, 2016, 2017, 16, 17, going into 18, when I came across Terrence. But I say that to say, right before I met Terrence, something said, start to scale back your business. Scale back. And I did not know why. And I never forget, because a lot of my business was built on social media. And so I had a very big following on Instagram. And I never forget, one May, something say, shut it down for the month of May. And I remember one of my business associates, she was like, girl, you sure you want to do that? I said, I feel led to do it. She's like, you sure you want to do it? Because social media, once you stop, it dies. And she said, you can't take a break. And I was like, well, I just got to trust God. And I started to scale back. And I took off that month. And when I did pick it back up, business was still there, but I felt different about it. It no longer consumed me. It no longer, quote unquote, validated me. I started looking at it differently. So when Terrence came in, because I remember when we started talking, Terrence popped in on one of my lives. I was on, and I was like, "Oh my God, about to happen! Oh Lord Jesus, he's making me nervous." But I told him, what did I tell you?
You told me if I needed you or wanted you to shut that down, you was ready to shut it down right there for our marriage.
Yep, I told him, and he didn't. And so what we did was we rebranded that business. Instead of the Savvy Servant, we rebranded it and called it, we call it the Smith Serves. And it's consulting, but God is so good because that business is self-sufficient.
It's on autopilot.
It's on autopilot. We make money in that business. It's all, we have a toolkit that I no longer do consulting. I have three clients that has me on retainer, and they become our family and friends. But everything else, I have it on autopilot. I have that business on autopilot. So I sell a toolkit. It's on autopilot. The training, everything is on autopilot. We created a community on Facebook that got over 20,000 people in this community, in this group, and it's self-sufficient, and they are gleaning from each other. The toolkit is posted periodically, and if people want to buy it, as newcomers come in, they buy it, and the money goes into our account. And so I removed myself from it. We have a YouTube channel. The videos are still up, but I don't, it's making us money, but I removed myself. And I remember you said something so vital. You said, you said you stop in that business because I was like, we don't even have to get the money from, we could shut it all down. You was like, no, that's like you saying we're not going to get your veterans benefits.
Veterans benefits, something that I've already earned.
Yes,
God gave us those things knowing that they was going to serve us for the rest of our life.
Right.
So just because we got married didn't mean we had to cut those off.
Right. It's how we place them.
It's where we place them.
Yes.
And we put God before everything.
Yeah.
So it's not saying these things are our source. No, God is still our source.
God is still our source.
These are resources that God gave us along the way that we're still benefiting from today.
Yes. And so when we came in and because you had multi-level marketing, you were big in, you gave that up. We came in and we did something together, a God-Ordained union. And so
it's not about saying what you've done isn't worthy of saying that's the lifestyle that you created for yourself. Yes, you're very successful.
You can't take that away.
Nobody can ever take those things away. But what we're saying is, if that's what's blocking you from meeting the person that God has for you, you might just need to rethink how to free up some time to make room for the person, just so they would feel like there's room in your life for them.
And remove the identity, your self-identity in the success of those things.
Wow.
It could mean that you may want to get someone else to manage the business. It could mean that you could sell the business. For a lot of you, it's ministry. You got this whole brand, this whole women's empowerment ministry you got going on. That's seasonal. You got to know that that's seasonal. That's seasonal. And because I see it a lot, it's like you'll get married, but they'll try to fit the husband into their ministry that they've already created. And what that does, it looks like the husband is a puppy dog. It looks like the husband is, smooching off of what you're doing. And not that it means anything for how it looks, but is God getting the glory in how he wants to use the both of you. And so if you're not willing to die to self and what was for that season, you could be missing the purpose that God has for the union. Or you could even be blocking even getting a union. Because a lot of people, they got so many accomplishments, from owning their own home to businesses to ministries to being so embedded in their churches that they don't want to relocate, even if it's 2 cities over 2 hours away, 3 hours away. You're so stuck on what you've accomplished that it's not. Yeah.
And here's the thing, the Bible says that first the two will become one. It also says that God will start anew. Mm-hmm. So God doesn't do anything by mistake. So all the things that you have accomplished, all the things that you have acquired over the years, there's still going to be some type of purpose or place for them within what he's going to set up for you anew. He didn't have you learn those skill sets to say we're going to dump them in the trash.
Right.
That ain't what we're saying.
Right.
We're just saying that God is going to tweak it or turn it a little bit, and your focus is going to be maybe in another area of that you didn't think about before, that now he's going to do for you and your spouse to do together. And your spouse is going to bring something to the table. You're going to bring something to the table, and he's going to start anew with the both of you adding to it together or contributing to it together. It's not going to be just saying you have to release all of that stuff or dump it in the trash. You're going to start all over from ground zero. No, God, he doesn't do anything by accident, and he doesn't waste anything.
Which goes to a good point, because the skills that I had in nonprofit management and development now
serves us
out, because we have now a nonprofit, the Terrence and Jill Smith Foundation. And so so he doesn't throw it away. That's why that season is vital. The single season is vital, because you need tools and skills and stuff that's going to equip you for, the marriage.
Yes.
And so
he just helps us repurpose those skill sets into something that he has set the foundation for us.
Yes. So I would suggest this, like if you're meeting somebody, say if you go out on a date with someone, don't lead with your accomplishments. Don't, they might say, okay, well, what you do for me? Oh yeah, I mean, be wise. Just be wise. You are not your accomplishments. You are not your success. People want to know, who are you
when you're not driving that car?
Right.
Who are you when you're not in that high rise? They want to know who that person is.
And so I remember my sister was dating this guy, and she was like, I didn't like, he was a pastor. She's like, I came to know him as a person and didn't like the person. Everything, I liked the title, the accomplishments, but I didn't even like the person. And so and it was vice versa. And then she met another guy, she liked the person, but she didn't like, his position. So you got to be very careful, even when you meet quote unquote successful people.
Yeah, we got to watch our identity being so wrapped up into those accomplishments that you push people away.
Yep.
That's called idolatry.
That is idolatry. And so
we got to be careful with that.
Yeah, success. And
it's all about trying to find that balance. But the center of that balance is going to always be God.
It's going to always.
As long as you keep God center of your life, he will help you work those things out.
Yeah.
In ways that everybody's going to benefit. That he puts as a part of your life.
Yeah. And I mean, you could just ask yourself some questions even after this video. The things that you've accomplished, can you release them? Can you, are you stuck to them? Are you, are you able to release them? Are you able to take that, that 7-figure business that you bought? Can you walk away from it? Can you put somebody else in management? Are you willing to relocate and not have to babysit that business? Can you give it up? Can you expand the business? Can you meet the person, the one, and y'all expand the business together? Like, where can you help? So you got to be very, very wise, and you got to really look at, the feelings attached to your success and your accomplishments, how you maneuver. You got to consider all that, because for a lot of you, unfortunately, your success is blocking you.
And I'm going to say this for the men. I've said it over 100 times already, but I'm going to keep saying it. It doesn't matter how successful you are. The word says, he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing and finds favor of the Lord.
Yes.
What you have done by yourself is mere pennies compared to what success God is going to give you when you find the person he has for you and y'all become one and allow him to order your steps. Your success is going to go to a whole nother level because God's math ain't our math.
Which goes to a point I wanted to make. I was looking at an interview with Jonathan McReynolds, who's the gospel singer, and somebody was doing an interview on him. I think it was Lecrae, I think. And they asked about marriage. The interviewer asked Jonathan McReynolds about marriage. Now, I think he's in his 30s, upper 30s or whatever. And he skated around the question. Well, he said, his response was basically, he said he wouldn't have had this success that he's had if he was married. I couldn't wait to comment. I was like, dude, you have no clue, because you would have been even that much more successful.
And again,
had you had a wife.
God's math is not our math. So I can't even tell you that it would have been double or triple, or he'd have been. I can tell you God's math is talking about 10-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold.
But it would have to have been with the right person.
But it had to be with
and
the
that's
right
with
person.
Anybody. And that's why you got to be very careful.
Which is why you put God first.
You put God first, and you got to, so you have this success. Anybody won't do. You got to have the right person, because the right person will multiply. It will it's going to do God's math.
Already has God.
Yes. So whatever your success you have is about to go to huge levels. So it's definitely not about you settling. It literally is about you about to, we're talking about enlarge territories. Your territory is going to enlarge. And so when you're looking at somebody to match your grind or match your hustle, nah, baby, because it might not come in how you think it should come.
That grind may be in
it might be told right.
Causes different muscles, that causes different types of skill sets that you have, or more importantly, you don't have, but God is developing them in you. Because even when you go from season to season with God, the tool set you used previously doesn't work in your next season. God has another skill set that you have to kind of
and because the tools that you have, the tool set that you have is going to expand. Just for instance, like going back to the nonprofit management tools and skills that I had it from the point of view of showing somebody how to do it. It's going to a different level of me doing it for us. So it's a whole different, me being the teacher is different from me being the user, from us being the user. So God is taking it to a whole nother level. And so, I mean, it is about expanding and going, is enlarging. And so don't think that your success, if you meet somebody, is going to take you down. Or it's gonna
all the things that you've learned, God will find a use and a purpose for them in his new that he's creating with you. And you're going to realize that all the stuff that you did wasn't for nothing.
Yeah. And I got to go back to my point, just in case you missed it. So if you're a successful man or woman, and let's just say you're successful in business, man or woman, the spouse that God has for you may not be in business. Their success may not be in business. They might not have the success. So you got to be that's why you got to be very wise. And so you're looking at somebody who's going to match your quote unquote success, that might not come that way. So you got to be very prayerful, careful, use wisdom and discernment, look at character, look at fruit, because the person that is coming is going to take you to a whole nother level, expand to a whole nother territory. But you can't be so caught and wrapped up in what you have that you can't release it to grow.
And that you can't see what they're showing you.
Yes. Yes.
So you have to be spiritually led, and you have to look with your spiritual eyes. And listen with your spiritual ears.
Yes.
Because this is all about God ordering your steps and getting you to exactly where you say you want to be.
And where he wants you to
be.
be.
And where he wants you to be without you having to lose anything.
Yes.
And ask yourself this. If I know you're smart in business, but when have you heard of anybody that has ever lost or sacrificed anything for God's kingdom that God wasn't able to replace
or upgrade?
When does that ever happen?
Ever.
Ever? Think about that.
And if he's taking you out of a season of a business, y'all probably need the rest, which is also God's purpose. So
absolutely.
All right.
So with that being said,
yes,
we pray this has actually expanded how you think about your situation right now and where you are, and that it gives you some time to reflect, or it triggers you to reflecting on what your next step is going to be.
Yes,
in regards to you moving towards the relationship that you say you want.
Yeah, die to self. All right. That being said,
deuces.